Hey, M37 back again, and this time we're going to go over some SCOURGE WARLOCK changes that are scheduled for the Mod 15 release. Now, these are what is available on preview, and they may change. Things may be added, they may be taken away. But like I said in the other previous videos, if you see something you don't like, get on the forums, let the developers know. They look at and they read Reddit, and they also, of course, read their own official forum here on ARC forums. It's, as you can see, it's a little big, not quite as big as the control wizards, which I'll be going over at a later date. But pour yourself something to drink, sit down, just listen. Hey, SCOURGE WARLOCKs. SCOURGE WARLOCKs has historically had some clunky gameplay issues with power rotations and long animation times. A good amount of powers have been returned to be slightly faster and to chain into other powers in a more smooth way. There were also interactions like with Warlock's Curse, where trying to use another power while one was activating would cause the initial power to be cancelled before it was cast. Other than animation times, we wanted to spend some time cleaning up the damnation tree and really focusing on the Soul Puppet for the theme of that build. Soul Puppet's pretty weak right now. Alright, along with this came many improvements to the Soul Puppet and how it interacts with the Warlock, which can be seen below. For Damnation, we really wanted to focus on making a viable Soul Puppet encounter-based build. We also wanted to make Soul Puppet more reliable at lower levels, and just in general. To do this, we have made it so that the Soul Puppet no longer dissipates after 5 attacks, and instead does so after 20 seconds. This time also does not count down while you are not in combat, and summoning another Soul Puppet refreshes the duration of your current one and heals it to full. This should make your Soul Puppet much easier to maintain and a lot more manageable to keep alive. We also saw some bugs, weird behaviors, or player requests and powers that we wanted to touch on and get fixed. Killing Flames was a common complaint in that it didn't do enough damage against high health targets. As a result, it now deals less damage based on the target's current health, but hits harder at a baseline. Other powers like Brood of Hadar have had small adjustments in an attempt to fix a bug, but let us know if it's still happening. Why didn't you tell me what bug is, buddy? I don't know what that bug is, but sure, I'll let you know if it's still happening. Okay, animation changes. Warlock's Curse now has priority in being cast, will not be interrupted by other powers. Killing Flames activates time slightly reduced. Killing Flames now has priority in being cast and will not be interrupted by other powers. Dread Theft now has priority in being cast and will not be interrupted by other powers. Fiery Bolt activation time slightly reduced. Curse Bite activation time slightly reduced. Curse Bite now has high priority in being cast. It will not be interrupted by other powers. Man, are we going to be able to just macro everything and not have no interruptions because each one of them takes priority, so they all be cast at one time? That's interesting. I have to check that out, man. So Scorch now has priority in being cast. It will not be interrupted by other powers. I mean, if it has priority and Curse Bite has priority, and I cast them both at the same time, neither one of them is going to cancel each other out. Yeah, I see some key macros here. It might be. Yeah, this is looking good. Hero Storm activation time slightly reduced. Hero Storm now has priority in being cast. It will not be interrupted by other powers. Wrath's Shadow now has priority in being cast. It will not be interrupted by other powers. Wrath's Shadow no longer shows a cast bar when used. Warlock's Bargain. What did I say? Warlocks? Anyway, Warlock's Bargain now has priority in being cast. It will not be interrupted by other powers. Hadar's Grasp activation time slightly increased. I don't. Why increase Hadar's Grasp activation time, man? You know, with my build, that Hadar's Grasp is the primary lead off of my encounters. My Soulbinder high DPS single target build. I don't like that they're increasing. Okay, it's just slightly, so probably not even noticeable. Hadar's Grasp now has priority in being cast. It will not be interrupted by other powers. That's good. Blades of Vanquished Armies now has priority in being cast. It will not be interrupted by other powers. Cursed Souls now has priority in being cast. It will not be interrupted by other powers. Flames of Phlegthos. Well, Phleg. Now has priority in being cast. It will not be interrupted by other powers. Tyrannical Curse now has priority in being cast. It will not be interrupted by other powers. Gates of Hell. Activation time reduced. Soul Puppet. Duration reduced to 20 seconds. This time now only counts down while in combat. So when you're not in combat, that 20 seconds don't count, just while you're in combat. Soul Puppet no longer vanishes after 5 attacks. Soul Puppet summons another Soul Puppet. Will now refresh the duration of the current Soul Puppet and heal it to full. It now gains critical strike chance equal to your critical strike chance. Now I see where it's getting a little more powerful. Okay. It now has a base critical severity rating of 50%. So it's going to start out with 50% critical severity. Okay. Attacks can now critically strike. Oh, that sounds good for the Soul Puppet. Powers. Killing Flames. The base damage is increased by 20%. Good, good, good. Damage based on hit points is reduced to 2 times damage when the target is at or below 25% hit points. Base damage is going to be increased by 20%, but when the hit points are reduced, damage is reduced when the hit points is reduced to 2 times the damage when the target is at below 25% hit points. Okay. Fiery Bolt will no longer deal increased damage to enemies around the application target. So Fiery Bolt is no longer going to be good in any type of AoE build. Okay, Fiery Bolt damage is increased by 20%, and that would be single target for Fiery Bolt. Okay, Hadar's Grasp damage has increased by 20%. That's good. Hadar's Grasp base duration is increased to 2 seconds, up from 1.5. So they added a 0.5 to it. Rank up duration is reduced by 0.5%. That's down from 1%. So that went down to 0.5. Okay. Hadar's Grasp first consumed durations changed to plus 1.5 instead of plus 50%. Duration has changed to be plus 1.5 seconds instead of plus 50%. Okay. I'm not understanding that. Leave it in the comments to explain that one to me. I'm not getting that. Okay. Curse and Soul Puppet damage is increased to 25%. That's up from 15%. Okay, so that plays on Soul Puppet. Good deal. Immolation Spirits removed a 1 to 2 second delay that would cause the spirits to delay their initial attacks. Also fixed an issue with these would deal increased damage in certain cases. Okay. Brood of Hadar, an issue where there would deal increased damage in certain cases. Alright, Cursed Bite. This power now has 2 charges. Alright. Dread Theft. Dread Theft would deal 0 damage multiple times. Fixed it. Dread Theft would not allow you to use powers with a small period of time after it was finished being cast. Okay, they fixed it. No longer allows you to sometimes activate other powers while casting. Okay, they fixed that. Activating and canceling this power should now be much more responsive. Alright, now deals damage 10 times. Instead of dealing at 12, it deals at 10, but it's increased to 20%. Okay. I don't know what that's up from, but 20% from whatever it was before. Alright. Now, class features: all-consuming curse, critical strike. Now applies to lesser curse 100% of the time. So every time, if you got all-consuming curse feat, class feature, the critical strike will automatically apply a lesser curse. All-consuming curse now increases lesser curse damage by 20%. Okay. It now increases lesser curse damage by 10% per rank. Well, if I'm level 70, if they're talking about per rank, that's 700%. So I'm sure that's, I don't know what they're talking about, 10% per rank. Somebody explain that to me. Okay, Feats, Damnation. Warding Spirits, Evoke, Reworked. Now causes up to 25% of the damage you take to be transferred to your soul puppet. Warding Spirits now increase your soul puppet's maximum hit points up to 50% of your maximum hit points. Note, having 5 points in this feat means that your soul puppet has as much maximum health as you do. Wow, cool. But remember, it only lasts for 20 seconds, and then you have to resummon it. And usually Killing Flames, if it kills the foe, that resummons it. I think there is a feat that you can take that you can summon and keep up a soul puppet if you want. Okay, Mocking Spirit no longer increases the maximum hit points of your soul puppet. The damage of it, resistance of your soul puppet is increased by 25%, up to 25%. And Spirit Fire, this feat can now critically strike. The feat should correctly scale with power. Damage bonus. Damage reduced to up to 25% from up to 75%. It's a big reduction in Spitfire damage. Soul Desecration is reworked. Your soul puppet no longer dissipates after 20 seconds, and its attacks now recharge your encounter powers by 1 second on each hit. That's good. Your Warlock's Curse now corrupts targets, causing them to spawn a soul puppet when killed. So your Warlock's Curse is going to bring up a soul puppet once the target dies. So that's good. And when Warlock's Curse is consumed, so every time you use Soul Scorch, if you're using my build, then I guess you're going to get a soul puppet, because you're constantly using Soul Scorch to consume your soul sparks and to do damage with your Warlock's Curse as your Warlock's Curse comes off, and then you reapply it and you're putting more damage back on it as you're reapplying it. You're doing damage. But if that's going to be the case, that'll be pretty cool. Be awesome. So Investiture now increases your encounter power damage by 10% per stack. Additionally, if you do not have a soul puppet active, you will automatically summon one. This effect has a 15-second cooldown. Fury. Murderous Flames now causes your fire-based single target at will and encounter powers to deal 25% of their, up to 25% of their damage to all enemies. Splits equally within 20 feet of primary target. Does not trigger from dot damage. That's damage over time effects. Powers included Killing Flames, Infernal Spear, Health Rebuke, Soul Scorch, and Eldritch Blast. So some interesting changes coming ahead. Leave me some comments there. Explain those couple of things to me that I asked about. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Be watching now. Here in a little bit, I'll be doing another class change episode. Probably, I'm looking for a Great Fighters one, but if not, then we'll go over the Control Wizard one. This is M37, and I am out of here. I'll talk to you guys later. Yeah.